likes music. I know how original. Now, I am no 12-tone, who, by the way, has an incredible YouTube channel that you should check out, but I do know the magical musical game that puts the Beatles to shame. Because Pink Floyd was always better. Pink Floyd made Time. What have the Beatles made that compares to that masterpiece?
Runner2, or its full name, Bit.Trip presents Runner2, Future of Rhythm Alien, wrap that one around your head and neck, is a side-scrolling platformer developed by Conjun Games. Or at least that's what Wikipedia says. But Wikipedia is only the website that allows you to know about Coca-Cola's business in Nazi Germany, as well as the many high-quantity amounts of war crimes that the United States has committed, so why should you trust them? But they also said that this studio originates from Russia.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me.
Anyways, I heard this game is pretty great, so let's see if I'm capable of saying that about it.
Damn, I'm hooked on a feeling already. I like where this is going.
Today's thrilling episode is brought to you in part by Schlortz Premium Malt Fluid. It's wet.
Whoa! Sponsors? What kind of merchants wanted me to buy this game?
I'm Charles Martinet, and now it's time for Bit Trip Presents Runner2, Future Legend of Rhythm Alien.
Wait! Charles Martinet? That name sounds awfully familiar. Oh my god, it's Mr. Mario himself! This amazing man also did some voice acting in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and even The Game, 1997. This is already the greatest game ever made.
This is the most fun settings screen I've ever seen.
Ha ha ha, ain't this fun? But anyways, let's see what this game is actually about. The story is a continuation of what I assume was the plot of the previous game. A really cool protagonist, Commander Video, and his team of companions, which includes Super Meat Boy for some reason, chase down some metal robot menace known as Timber Tot.
The devil himself could not pronounce a title more hateful.
The heroes chase him into something called the Hyper Spear, which is a spear that exhibits more than 3 dimensions. But then some beam that comes out of nowhere targets our squad. Thankfully, the ever-so-brave Commander Video takes the blast like a kamikaze pie.
No, we can't use that one. That's racist.
Unfortunately for Commander Video, he is sucked into an unknown dimension. One that uses wonderfully explained science to trap and enslave our dazed and confused protagonists. But don't worry, we will prevail because we are clearly Team Spread Lies that the Earth is cooling to own the libs. The story does go more into depth when you enter new worlds, but that's the basic idea of it.
Now I will give an analysis of every world, but first I gotta tell you about the gameplay because Wikipedia ain't doing that. I feel the rhythm and melody.
A few moments later.
Holy mother of God Christ shit. I felt like I was just playing an instrument. Anyways, game analysis shit. You gotta do Will the Bill Man.
The game is on-rails and rhythmic bass. Some might say they don't like on-rail games because they take away your freedom to move at your own pace. I actually think the on-rail principle of the game works to its advantage. Remember, this is a rhythm game. You can't go backwards in Guitar Hero. An aspect that makes Runner2 a special experience is how every gold bar and red cross made of cubes that you collect doesn't just add to your worthless high score. It also adds to the rhythm of the music. It's not just a collectible, it's a note in a song. The player will also get note sounds if they dodge enemies precisely enough. This is a genuinely real reason I wanted to collect as many collectibles as I could. It's a type of gameplay feature I like to call interesting, and the game is more fun because of it. And since the harder difficulties have more enemies and obstacles, it only makes it more satisfying and enjoyable. This is the only game I've ever played where the music did not just give me something to listen to, it enhanced the experience. I can't say that about many games that have killer soundtracks. That's quite the accomplishment. Now on to the world analysis shit that I promised. There are 5 worlds to go through. I'm not going to explain the stories of these worlds because I already spoiled the game enough for the viewer. The first one is...
The Welkin Wonderland.
And yes, Mr. Mario himself is going to say the name of each world because his narrating voice is better than yours. This is very much your basic first world where you get the sense of what the game you're playing is all about. This doesn't mean that this world isn't memorable and fun, because of course it is. I mean, there's one part where you run on a plane like it's the Dragon Instance T music video. And if the world is too easy for you, just raise the difficulty to show how much you hate yourself. Or if you want something more gratifying like me. This world, and the whole game for that matter, do an excellently incredible job of introducing game mechanics and new moves that the player uses when needed. It all comes so naturally, and they do it quickly enough so it doesn't become annoying while long enough for the player to understand what to do. It feels like learning how to play an instrument in the most intuitive way possible. Apparently, intuition is more important than I thought. Nice to see what doing research while writing the script can lead to. Every world in this game has its own unique sound. The Welkin Wonderland has an upbeat sound that makes you feel like you're flying. If you feel inspired enough. It's a pretty nice feeling that makes the experience a higher quantity of quality. All of the worlds have a boss at the end of them. Most of them, while they do have interesting gameplay to go with them, come across as kind of samey because all of them are the same robot menace we saw at the beginning of the game. Tempertot isn't necessarily the most memorable villain out there. He's kind of generic. The boss fights can still be fun because of the mechanics, but they are the lesser part of the game by far. But all in all, the Welkin Wonderland is just a real fun world and a good introduction to the game. It's a place where you can be taken higher to a place where life... No, Mr. 91 Man. You have to make references to good songs from good bands/artists. Next on our list is...
The Emerald Brine.
This is my least favorite world in Runner2. I don't think it's at all in any scientific outcome unenjoyable. It's really just the least good. It's the least memorable, like how nobody remembers something in the way from Nevermind, but at least this world is more interesting than that song. It's still fun and does an excellent job of introducing gameplay mechanics, but the sound of the world is not quite as fun as the rest. It is very much generic tropical sounds. The boss fight in this world is also my least favorite part of the game. I might just be retarded, but I thought it was confusing enough to need a Google search to find the way to defeat it. I don't believe that's a good sign. This world also has what I believe are the most uninspired backgrounds in the game. It has its moments, but a lot of it is just a stock tropical style. It's kind of like a ukulele. It can do a few interesting things, but it's not used in a lot of good songs, especially not ones from this train wreck of a band. However, I always forget about this part, but there's this completely useless collection of dances that I wish I used more because god damn it, it is so useless yet charming. It adds so much personality. Anyways, third on our list is...
The Supernature.
The forest of all supernatural creatures. Time to go on some witch hunts like my name is Joseph McCarthy. Fun fact, dumbass me thought I did not have to use my laptop charger while capturing footage for this world and the next.
I was wrong.
So what happened was I had to re-record the world after I beated the game, which is why I have all these costumes that I didn't before. Anyways, world analysis time again. It never ends. This is most certainly in my top 3 worlds next to the ones that are still yet to come. I believe that the forest is extremely aesthetically pleasing. It's a weird and wonderful place. I like the sound of the world more. It's at least less generic. The Supernature also introduces one of my favorite gameplay mechanics. These moving walkways that speed you up to make you go faster than the average death metal song.
Speaking of which, how do I get into death metal music anyways? Well, it's heavy, so let's only start out with the best of the best. The Brutish of the Brutish!
Later.
This is incredible! I love the pig vocals, and I love the fact that I can't read the band logo. This right here, I tell you, is the peak of musical talent.
Yeah, I really appreciate the existence of these speed boosts. They're so fun. This game's art style is great at all the little charming details in the background. The world that did the best job of this is most certainly the forest where Trevor Henderson creatures can live, and it will make scientific sense. Although, I kind of don't like these flying barricades. They're a little bit annoying. It puts me somewhere under the rainbow where bluebirds die! But other than that, the world is pretty great. Plus the boss is fun. Top that with the sound of a forest of wonder, and you got yourself one nice experience. Like listening to Wish You Were Here, except it's much less emotional. This Supernature equals greatness. Fourth is
The Mounting Sads.
this is a factory on this massive lava land area where they destroy mountains for resources and monetary gain. It's the perfect representation of how humanity will be when it has finally destroyed the rainforest because of its own greed and arrogance. This is where I found out how to unlock characters. Turns out you have to go the alternate way.
I used it to get the Tin Man. At first I wasn't too fond of him. Fuck you, you heartless bastard!
But then I got him.
You know what, Tin Man? You're alright.
Remember, follow the yellow brick road despite its horrors. The characters don't play differently, but they add charm and personality to the game. That makes me happy, like musical theater, which you should not disrespect or I will vandalize your property in the worst way possible, you non-drama kids that like to draw penises and use gay as an insult. I also like the boss in this world for his style of killing you. Still not the most memorable though. He was memorable to me because I tortured myself with the rather hard difficulty while fighting him. This world is some kind of time. With a nice factory sound that has a little sense that if we fall, we're all doomed.
And we're not done with the worlds yet. We saved the best for last.
At last, we are here.
The Bit Trip.
The transition back into Commander Video's reality that he used to know. I love this world! Almost every enemy and object and obstacle is in this beautiful pixelated style. The world also has this inspiring space sound that fits so well with it. One thing I was not a big fan of were the long levels with something like 78 piles of gold bars to collect. It was a bit much! Although it felt awfully satisfying to complete when I got them down. It felt like I just did this. This must be what being the master at Master of Puppets feels like. This world also has the best character in the game, Captain Video. He's just so cool and better than Commander Video in every way because of his style. He's almost as cool as Oakley Dokley. Also, what is this guitar? It's so epic. And now for the finale of the game. The final boss is where you run the other way from Timbertot this time. He also takes more hits because he clearly built his machine out of metal from extermination dismemberment. The final fight messes with me in obvious ways of confusion for the human brain to process. That's because of these degenerate scumbags deciding that flipping the way you go and have been going for the whole game was a good idea. But it was still fun and a good fight that finally defeats the evil robot menace Timbertot.
And now I shall hit the target one last time. Roll credits.
After breaking free of this weird psychological reality and into his own reality, Commander Video reunites with his champions 1 frame later. Commander Video was in that dimension for 15 months and his colleagues were completely unaware of it. The story comes to a close with our 5 heroes continuing their quest
Across the universe.
And now it's time for the reason you came here. The ratings!
First off, the graphics are beautiful like Bandstand the Broadway musical. All you misogynistic COD fans might say, well, our game made the most realistic 3D model of Ronald Reagan. And to that I say, fuck you! Conjun made their game look like an episode of Jimmy Neutron if that show had better 3D animation. Money much more well spent. Every world is oozing with so much personality and detail to the point where it gets kind of distracting. Although maybe I just need glasses. The slide also does not have a transition animation, but it's at least fun to use it as often as Lars and his snare drums on Saint Anger. And like I said before, there are plenty of fascinating living and non-living things in the background. I also like how the enemies change throughout the worlds. Nice little details. It gets a 9.5. What a score to get from William. Next, we got something quite special to what we're talking about. The music and sound design. The music, while most certainly elevating with an inspiring sense to it, is not too amazing, though it still is great. I mean, it's 999 septillion times better than anything the racist regressive bastard known as Kid Rock has ever made, but that's the lowest bar to get over. Rather, the simple yet effective gameplay and movements turn already amazing music into something uniquely beautiful. The music keeps getting better and even changes the sound slightly whenever you touch those collections of red cubes. Some say music motivates them. Runner2's gameplay and music motivate me to continue playing. That's a rare thing I can't say about a lot of other games. Another one is a 9.5. There is not much to say about the frame rate. It's like the album Toxicity from System of a Down. It's really good. It does what all good frame rates do. It's just less noticeable than bad frame rates like what Snowmoto had. It's good enough to get a 9. Before we get into the next segment, I just want to ask you, have you ever played an instrument?
You're probably better at it than I am.
Well, if there's anything the controls feel like, it's instrument playing. And if you want something that gives you a strong sense of reward, I highly recommend playing levels on rather hard. Easier difficulties might be more approachable, but harder ones are more satisfying with dodging more enemies and avoiding more obstacles. When you do that precisely enough, or collect the gold bars, you make a note. The more notes you hit, the grander the song sounds, and the more fun the game is. If the controls feel like playing an instrument, then the hard mode feels like shredding one. No other game has given me this feeling. That is something special. And the controls are incredibly responsive too. 10 out of 10. Replay value is next and I do want to play this game again. Maybe even immediately. Every level has an online leaderboard for who can get the highest score. That means getting all collectibles and dodging all enemies precisely enough to get the highest score possible. Or maybe they got this way because they're hackers, but I don't know. Unlocking other characters and character skins is something you can do by going on alternate paths for keys. These skins can be pretty nice. My favorite one being what I like to call the Ned Flanders skin for Captain Video. He just keeps getting cooler and cooler. There's not any alternative modes, but I might not need them because the main game is fun enough to replay. Plus, it's enjoyable enough to try the harder difficulties and get the perfect scores. Not to mention, I love seeing Captain Video fall off the target. Replay gets an 8.5 out of 10. I talked about the gameplay during the controls already, but I kind of sort of have to do it over again because screw you. It is fantastic! The controls and the music aspects of the game really do make it for me. Runner2 is almost never unfair or cheap with its difficulty. You just might need some fast reflexes and to not be distracted by the mesmerizing backgrounds. I love how the music adds to the quality of the gameplay. It makes it more of a unique experience, and I've been listening to my own gameplay footage while writing the script like it's a playlist. An incredibly exceptional thing to exist. Plus, if you like it enough, you could download it off of Spotify. But yeah, the gameplay is somebody to love if it was a literal human being. A 10 from me. And now, the thing that will make me say, so long, farewell, my overall enjoyment. But first I want to share an unpopular opinion that will be hard to say. If you don't care about that, then skip to the time code that you see. I haven't seen it in a while, and I probably just have to see it again, but I don't think the Sound of Music is that good. Granted, I watched the film version at the time when I did not know how valuable musicals actually were, and I was probably too young to understand the meaning, but I just found it to be weirdly unexciting. I also remember the film having this in a vacuum atmosphere with all the sets. Although, that's fitting for the musical because of the setting of its story. Anyways, tell me how much I need to rewatch the movie or see a performance of it like I really should in the comments. Back to my enjoyment about something completely different. I'm glad I'm capable of saying that Runner2 is amazing. If playing instruments is as fun as playing Runner2, then god damn me for not seeing the value of creating music much earlier. This game is so elevating, it's just like playing music. I call it the feeling of music. Not to mention, all the charming little details add so much personality into an experience already full of life. It's full of more life than William Shatner's cover of Iron Man from Black Sabbath.
Has he lost his mind? Can he see or
And more seriously, whenever you screw up, it almost always comes across as more of an experience of teaching and learning from your mistakes rather than frustration. The way the game treats you when you fail is the more healthy way to make people do better because it puts them in the right mood to do better. And before I would complain about the lack of lives, but if there were lives in the game, it would be more frustrating than fun. Plus, the characters like the Tin Man, the Gracious Pickle, and Captain Video are pretty cool.
It's good enough to get a 9. No. A 10. A 10. A 10. A 10. I tell you, it's that great. I was playing TF2 in my free time, and I actually wanted to play Runner2 more than TF2. At least Runner2 doesn't have a stupid bot problem that the developers won't bother to fix. Anyways, this has been the second episode of the 91 Will Review Show. I hope to branch out. Thank you to all you beautiful humans for watching. Bye, everyone.
Ocean man, shake me by the hand, lead me to the land that you understand.